the Razer Huntsman Mini, the GK61X, two 60% keyboards, one winner. Today, we're going to combat these two keyboards, comparing them price, quality, and performance, and tell you which one is better. Spoiler alert, I haven't even done the testing and I know it's this one, but it's like 60% keyboards. They're honestly a bit of a trend right now, you know? Smaller, compact gaming keyboards, they're pretty awesome. And today, we've got two that honestly most of you guys could probably afford. We've got the Razer Huntsman Mini with clicky switches. Super loud, super clicky, super responsive, and easily one of the most interesting keyboards I've ever had, with optical mechanical switches and a nice 60% layout from Razer. Versus my custom GK61X Butter Edition. This one features linear standardized mechanical keyboard switches and a couple of extra secret upgrades that I put in there just to make sure that this is the best keyboard. Hello and welcome. My name is Wolfie and you are watching GreaterThanPie. So, in front of me I have two 60% keyboards. One of them, I should probably look at the price now. So our first competitor, the Razer Huntsman Mini. You can get this for about $120 on Amazon at the moment, but you can get it refurbished for around $80. And this is a custom GK61X. Now, that sounds super intimidating, you know, custom and everything. But I believe I built this for around $120, meaning we are literally comparing two keyboards at the exact same price point, which I didn't actually expect, to be completely honest. I thought this one was actually more expensive. But when I totaled everything together, a $70 PCB case plate with like $20 in keycaps and then like another 20 in switches, like I'm pretty sure I came in under actually. So yeah, this is, I think, cheaper. So now that price is out of the way, let's talk about quality. This, of course, is a manufactured keyboard from Razer. It's using Razer purple switches. These are actually Razer's optical mechanical switches. And honestly, like, they are pretty damn fast. I have used them. I used this keyboard extensively when I first got it, and I really did like how quick it was to actually actuate and how quick it was to respond. It also has two levels of height adjustment. As you can hear, these are very clicky. This top plate is made of metal. I believe it's aluminum. There is a recessed USB-C jack with guides so that if you use the correct cable with it, it will slide right in. That being said, if you use an aftermarket cable, you don't really have the ability to use that feature. The keycap set also has the legends printed down on the bottom, which I thought would be harder to find replacements for, but it turns out that it's actually more common than I thought, which is great because 60% are interesting and having these all labeled is nice. That being said, overall, like, we got a bottom that's plastic, so the plate's metal, the body's plastic, and then there's kind of this, you might be able to hear it in the microphone, there's this sort of rattle to it that I didn't even notice at first. And I think it's literally the keycaps are rattling in here, and I'm not 100% sure. There is, when you are typing, like if you hit some of the wider keys off on the side, you can actually hear some pinging. And overall though, like, it's a solid little board. I wouldn't feel bad throwing it in a backpack. And it does still feel pretty quality. The keycaps on here, by the way, are absolutely amazing. I can't remember if these are the PETG or the PED, or yeah. I can't remember what plastic they are, but they are pretty nice keycaps. They feel good. And in comparison to many of the other ones that I've tried in the past, I really do like them. They have a good sound. In fact, I am actually using Razer keycaps on this board as well. The black ones are actually from a different Razer keyboard. Now for the butter keyboard, we've got plastic base. This is a high profile base. There is no height adjustment. It's all just one height. But even with the height adjustment absent, it actually sits about the mid angle of the Razer Huntsman. Yeah, the typing angle is about the same as the mid angle. As a high bodied case, it means it doesn't have the floating key effect. And it also traps a little bit more sound inside the body. In addition, there is actually foam that I put in there as a modification to the body, just to make it sound even better. It was like no, not even 10. It was like $5 crafting foam, so it's not really going to change the price all that much on here. The keycap set, as I mentioned, is kind of a custom combination here. There's a yellow Chinese special set that I've done some special modifications to make them both feel and sound a little bit better. And then also the Razer keycaps, which in comparison are much better. So overall, quality-wise, I mean, do you hear any rattling here? Nah, I don't hear any rattling. It doesn't rattle. This one is overall just a much better put together board, even though I've taken this apart and this is a full custom. Part of that is actually how this is assembled. This assembly, I could take all the keycaps off and the plate and then get into it, as opposed to this, where the plate and the PCB are actually attached together. And then that gets screwed to the case. And then overall, like these Gateron switches, and I'm not even joking, these the switches themselves are so grippy that I can remove the switches from the PCB using the key puller to pull it off. So that's why you're not getting much rattle over here. This one does have a USB-C port as well. It's not too recessed, but it is a little recessed. And since it's USB-C, it's not really too big of a deal. Overall, like quality-wise, I think the custom wins on this one. So one advantage the Razer Huntsman Mini does have over this is the fact that it doesn't eat switches when you put it together, because you don't have to put it together. It's full assembly. You take it out of the box, it's good to go. In fact, we did an unboxing video of it on the channel itself. Honestly, like this is great because this is a nice just grab and go, plug and play, you're good to go. This took about an hour of assembly to get it all together. To mod it was actually a pain in the butt. We had to do the keys, you need to clear coat them. And so to clear coat the keys after modification takes 24 hours. And then to do the switches, like do the mod for it, it was actually a real big pain to like figure out how this whole thing was assembled. But after you take it apart, like getting everything to sit back into place properly was a bit of a pain. And then it also like ate like 20 switches, which I think part of that was the Gateron switches themselves are really fragile. But you know, when it comes down to it, it's as a situation, like it did take a lot more time to get this set up. But, and this is another drawback of a keyboard that is pre-built, if I need to fix or replace anything, this one wins hands down. You see, while the PCB may be a pain in the butt and the switches were a pain in the butt, I still can replace them. Like if I decide I don't like these Gateron yellow switches, I can switch them. I have Halo switches that I can switch them to. I can get other Gaterons. I can get other clickies. Like I can make this is stuck as just a clicky keyboard. It will never be an optical, tactical keyboard. But this can go from a linear to a tactical to a clicky. It can go to whatever I want it to be. And I think that's really the biggest advantage of doing something like this is you end up with a keyboard that effectively can be used as much as you possibly want it to. And if you did so decide to, you can solder permanent switches into it if you really wanted to. That being said, I do have a video coming up, not with this keyboard because it's fully functional, but I have a broken Razer keyboard that I'm going to try and do a switch replacement on. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, get subscribed to that. But yeah, digressing a little bit, when it comes down to it, this one it does have an advantage over this one by a long shot, and it is actually in the longevity of the switches. You see, with optical switches, there's very few moving parts to actually cause a problem. The way a traditional switch works is a little button is like pressed and it causes two connection points to connect, and that causes the switch to say I have been pressed. And so as layman as that is, essentially you're creating a circuit and that runs the circuit. Where optical uses digital signals, it's an always on configuration. The switches are always powered, but once something breaks the sensor, that's when it activates a key press. And because of that, optical is actually a little bit faster than a traditional mechanical keyboard. So much so that it kind of feels lagless, which is honestly amazing. And I think I'm not alone in saying that Razer's mechanical optical switches are in a league that is honestly difficult to compete with. That being said, it's a lead that's only gonna last a certain period of time, because mechanical optical switches have come to custom keyboards. While I don't have a board that currently supports them, they are here. And because they are here, we will be seeing them probably very soon in this space. So really, Razer's only got the edge for a little bit longer in this regard. That being said, I know it sounds I'm being dismissive of the Razer Huntsman Mini, but I'm not. I actually do really like this keyboard. In fact, it was one of my favorite keyboards of all time. I just didn't expect this, if that makes sense. I didn't expect this and this to be the same price point. And I don't think you would either. Like, when it comes down to it, we're comparing two very different things, right? Like, people who build PCs say build a PC, you get a much better PC. And I build my PCs for that reason. But I didn't think that keyboards were the same way, you know? I didn't really think that at this price point, we would be comparing effectively, like, this is like the stock car that you tweaked and you made into an absolute racing legend. And this is the Honda Civic that you picked up and gets you from point A to point B. They're both good, but one of them is admittedly more luxury than the other. And it's weird. It's just weird. But honestly, that's enough meandering about that. I'm gonna let you listen to them both side by side on a mouse mat desk pad, because this is honestly the best case scenario for all of these. Most people who are using a 60% probably have an extra large desk pad for them. It's just the aesthetic. So I'm gonna let you guys listen to these guys side by side, and I'll let you decide which one you prefer. And as you can see though, there is a difference in sound. I mean, one of them's clickies, one of them's tacticals, even though, or not tacticals, linears. One of them's clicky and one of them's linear. So there's gonna be a difference no matter what. And honestly, the Gateron yellows are some of the loudest linears I've ever heard, specifically when they bottom out. But that being said, there's a nice crispness to the Razer purples. And when there isn't a pinging sound that comes from, I believe, specifically the stabilizers, honestly, it's amazing. Like, the sound of these keys is great. And honestly, like, I think you would have a hard time finding a clicky keyboard that has a better sound. Hard time, not an impossible time. Which I guess with all of that brings us to kind of our final thoughts about this. And where I think that if you are looking at this, you should really go. You see, when it comes down to it, both of these keyboards are great. If you don't have a lot of time, I recommend sticking to pre-built keyboards. They're great. They come out of the box, they work, they have software support. You don't have to hunt down drivers. You don't have to worry about fixing broken switches that you installed wrong. There's no hassle to it. But if you're the same kind of person who likes to build their PC, if you are the kind of person who knows graphics card, what processor you're running, everything down to like what maker of your AIO or air cooler or custom loop in my case, then you might want to look into building a custom keyboard. The GK61X, the one that I have here, is easily one of the best entry-level options I've seen, but I've also built more expensive ones out of CNC bodies. And this one right here, this isn't the last time you guys are even going to see it on the channel. I have another build where I'm going to actually use a CNC gold-plated body on this thing. So when it comes down to it, this hobby that is custom keyboards is incredible because of how unusual it is. I didn't expect to find anything at the cost of a normal keyboard. And yet, right in front of me is my butter keyboard that I built. And it's awesome. So, yeah. I guess, I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't expect this result. I went into this video kind of blind. I didn't really want too much of a bias against either of them. But now it's confirmed, for me at least, that I may never buy another pre-built again. But honestly, I think we should look at the bellow at $250 before we really decide on that. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you like the shirt, this is actually a shirt that I designed. You can actually buy it. Link is in the description. This one is I think it's the staple, I think. It's the more expensive of the two because it's a nicer material. It kind of also hugs the... It's a nicer material, so honestly, like, it's more comfortable and I like it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Wolfie, out.